Hey guys, I have another video today and it's going to be another Squirtle deck. I've been making quite a few of these deck guides, deck lists, whatever. This one is Shupe though, so it's pretty spicy, pretty interesting, and it's quite strong. I know Mago has been running a similar version to this, as well as a few other players. I've heard Kimchi's been playing Shupe as well. But Brouver Shupe is quite strong at the moment, and I'll just walk you through this deck and sort of what it's trying to do. Um, of course, the deck's revolving around Shupe Stay Off, which is a pretty crazy card if you don't know what it does. I mean, I'm not going to walk you through everything it can do, but basically it has three options, and each of the three options has five further options that it can get, and you basically discover one of those options after you pick one of the three. Um, and effectively, you have a huge amount of things you can do which give you a lot of points. So you have things like charming an enemy unit randomly. You can do a load of damage. You can replay your units. You can clear weather. You can spawn weather. You can even get resilient unit for 12 strength, that sort of thing, or even just play it as a 25 points. So there's lots of things you can do with this card, and it's the backbone of the deck. I mean, you wouldn't play this without building your whole deck around it. So that's kind of what we're doing. And even the silvers and yeah, the whole deck is based around this. So I'll just walk, I'll just explain how that works. So Shupe is a special card. It is not a unit. It does spawn a unit when you play it. But for that reason, it means we can use Yavin, who is the spy in Scoia'tael, to always tutor for Shupe. And what that means is you're always going to be able to find him after you play Yavin. Yavin will draw a special card and a unit, so you'll always see Shupe on one side and a unit on the other side if Shupe is in your deck. So that means we can always guarantee Shupe in every game. And that's because we have Brouver as the leader, who can pull a silver unit, i.e. our Yavin, from the deck at any point, or a dwarf, but we don't have any dwarfs really in this. And this is quite appropriate, it's the season of the elf. Deck is pretty much full of elves, and I'll kind of explain that. The reasoning there is uh, the elf package is, better when you're running all elves, right? Because you have things like Vanguard and Officer working with that. Whereas if you run dwarfs, you have to, break that up a bit. And as well as that, I mean, you have this Barclay Cleaver combo. It's really popular, with coin flips, theory Nova decks, as they're called. And if you run other dwarfs, that's going to interrupt that synergy. So this is a really powerful play, and we're going to use that a lot of the time to, pressure the opponent when we win the coin, i.e. go second, or even when we go first, you can flip the coin with Yavin, that sort of thing, and do a lot of damage with the Cleaver Barclay. So not running dwarfs means we have this combo available, and we're also just not running any bronze spells, no silver spells, which means Shupe's only special, which means he can always be tutored for. So that's kind of the idea of the deck. I guess the weaknesses of it are you don't run any 3-offs, obviously, so it's a bit inconsistent in terms of the bronzes, and the power level of the bronzes is not very good compared to a lot of other decks. Um, but the idea is to make up for that with the silvers and golds. So the other golds we're running a Shiru, really strong. We have a couple of ways to maybe set it up. I say a couple. We have the Double Planet Archer here, but it's not going to be relevant that often. But Shiru is just a very good card, especially against things like greatswords. We have Isengrim, and he's being, kept around by we're not bricking with him because we have Teruvial and we have Sappers as well. Sappers being a bronze that we're happy to put in since we need just 15 random bronzes effectively. So Isengrim's pretty strong. He's a lot of points. You can probably take him out if you want for whatever you really want. I mean, there's a lot of good gold options in Scoia'tael, maybe even. I mean, you could change the whole deck up and even put Triss Telekinesis in if you wanted, with some recons, but that way you just wouldn't have your Shupe every time. I'm not really sure the best way to make this deck at the moment. I'm just kind of experimenting with things and seeing what works, but I think this version's pretty good. Anyhow, yeah, a Glaze is the last one. Pretty strong. Not so much against Skellige, but against everything else, really, really good card. Um, Aileron obviously pops out when you have elves, really nice if you're running it with a lot of elves, obviously, which we are. And then Ida, of course, for some removal and for some weather clear. So those are silvers and golds, and then the bronzes are kind of just all filler. Basically, all of the elves that you want. You got that cheeky war dancer in there. You got some engines, and you got some removal and things like that. So, and hand buff. Hand buff is pretty nice. Just a bit of carryover. So yeah, that's the deck. Shupe is kind of you're relying on it. You're relying on abusing coin a lot with the Aven and Cleaver combo, and having Shupe as a really strong finisher, or potentially to even draw a card with him and gain more card advantage. But that being said, I will jump into some gameplay now. So see you in a minute. All right, got a game against Calviet. Seems like.
Let's get to work.
All right, so with the mulligans, I mean, you just don't really want your bronzes, you know, like there's a lot of bad bronzes in the deck, I want to say. So the mulligans are a bit weird, but apart from that, you don't really want your cleaver because you're always going to have Barclay pulling it out. So we'll get rid of that. You also don't want ambush cards. And that's because we have the Islingram, right, pulling Teruval and Slappers, so you can mulligan those as well, and then we have Aileron, which we don't want as well. So those are the bad cards, and you can usually only take 2 mulligans with this deck, I think. You don't really go for the third, there's not much point. You can save War Dancer for carryover, probably in this matchup we want to do that. If the opponent has carryover, you don't need to. Then again, I mean, it's a few extra points and some tempo, so I don't even mind using it here. Like as we said, we're just going to keep this hand because otherwise we run into some difficulties with, you know, Aileron and things like that. So we could play Dragoon to start with. The problem is it does die to the boys, as it were. So actually we're going to go with the Aven, grab that Shupe, and then we can play the Barclay Cleaver combo to get ahead of him, hopefully, after he plays a card here. After that, we might, you know, not have too many ways to catch up, but this is good because we can just remove that engine that he played with the combo, which is quite nice. It puts us well ahead, so for a few turns we should be able to put the pressure on, you know, keep up with him, keep up on even, which is really good. If possible, we don't want to go one down to win this round, but it might not be, you know, feasible. Now that is pretty good for him because we don't really have an answer, and he's going to be able to answer my engines. So we're going to start with Smuggler because we care less about it dying than the Dragoon. So we'll play Dragoon second for that reason. We could even play like a Scout to fetch for carryover, but I think we just go with Dragoon now. And this is kind of awkward because he can just, you know, Witcher it, then he's got a Dragoon getting him the carryover value while we do not. That's what happens, it looks like. We probably want to get the Aileron out this round if we can. I think I'm going to mulligan the Variad Brigade. Just to get some points, maybe a better card here that we can use. Like, this is actually going to be a problem. This Dragoon is going to get him a lot of free points, basically, which we do not like the look of. But we can probably just keep playing. Play like the subpar cards, effectively. The cards that are slightly worse in this hand. So the Neophyte, get some carryover there. Maybe the Bomber as well. Yeah, we just don't want to commit our really good cards, and we can do things. We can do things. If he spies me in second round, we can maybe go for the Shupe into card. That's possible. Generally, you don't want to do that because Shupe as a finisher is just very, very strong. But in some cases you can. And we're kind of hoping, you know, that this hand will just be enough to beat him if we go into a round 3. But it's tricky. It's tricky because we don't have the you know, the coin flip abuse, as it were, since we lost the coin. Here we'll just pass because I don't really feel like committing any more into this Dragoon. And he'll probably pass himself, and then we might have to use a really good card to catch up, like Shupe. Or we might just not have enough, so rather just chill a little bit. We haven't got Aileron out yet, which is a bit of a problem, so we have to mulligan that. But, you know, we should have enough elves to pull that out at some point. This may be a Cantarella. Yeah, probably. Which is pretty scary, and that's a rather big perk, because he took it with Stefan, right? Here we'll go with Scout, maybe find carryover. But we find a Dwarf. It's probably even better to take the Bowman, since we don't really need points, but we do want to get Aileron out. He might end up removing my elves and stop that happening, but the issue here is just going to be I'm, going to be losing on even effectively, which is not really a good thing. Ida can be used on that if we want. I think I'll wait on it, play to reveal first. Since to reveal's kind of less valuable. Ooh. That might be wrong because, this can eat one of those buffs and therefore not die, but that's okay. I think we just want to play the half elf, get our healer in out. We shouldn't be able to be 2-0'd here, so the question is whether we'll have basically stronger finisher cards than him. We can at some point maybe go for the Shupe card if we're far enough ahead, but it's kind of risky, especially since you don't always hit it. There's a chance you don't get the option to draw a card, which is not good. We'll see. See what happens here. Ultimately, this deck is actually a lot stronger on red coin than it is on blue coin, so that's something to keep in mind, just because you can always win on even or get 2 cards with it, which is obviously very strong. So he gets, oh my, it's a big play, wow, crazy things. We can go with the half elf now. Like, he shouldn't be able to 2-0 me even with a dead Shiru, just because I have the Cantarella points helping me out. But we'll see. I mean, dead Shiru is a pretty big deal, for sure. And we don't right now have a way to counteract that being the case. Could maybe Runestone with something from a Glace. Now this is kind of the time I'd want to play the Shupe card, because I'm kind of getting bled a bit here, and it's just not a fun time. I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. There it is. There it is. So we're still ahead. Now we're a card up, which gives us an actual advantage in round 3, which is nice. We get it. I mean, this is kind of a risky play, and we're down like a really good card, but we have Shiru Glaze to kind of make up for it. We'll hopefully be okay there. He does have a lot of buffs on these cards here, so it looks pretty scary if he's got, he's got 1 more gold, maybe a Kahir or something. Whoops. And we do not want Vanguard. I'm thinking, is there anything else we don't want? No, this is fine to Mulligan. So we can obviously start with Hawker support. That's pretty chill play. And either buff up healer or Shiru. Probably healer. Probably Shiru. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't really make a difference. Just not on a Glace, so we have a big dude. Rather obviously. We probably want to Shiru as soon as we can, as soon as he plays a reasonably big unit, because otherwise this might get awkward. Especially if we pull something big with a Glace or have to buff things with healer. So yeah, we can probably just use it here on that. It's reasonable. We're trading a lot of points up on his play, so pretty happy. Up 14 points with the Glace and a healer. Even cards. He might win. This Vilgefortz is huge. That's his big play. All the Dragoon buffs really helped him out. Got a lot of carryover. It's kind of fortunate from him because, this could be really nasty if it's Ozrel as well. Or Ghoul. That's pretty good. Pretty strong plays. Oh, if only we had the Shiru now. Oh no. I maybe should have saved it there, but, We can go for Black Blood and just kill the Ghoul, which is pretty solid. We might want to go with healer first. I'm trying to think, is there anything we need to play around? Honestly, no. I mean, we could a Glace. We could save a Glace if we think we're going to need... it's tricky, because we do give a Witcher slightly more points if we play healer first, but... should be okay. We can always save a Glace, just in case killing the Ghoul isn't enough here. If he has a really big final play. It's not big enough, so we do take it. We can even take his Mandrake, which is the same as the Black Blood, right? Just cheekily get rid of that Ghoul there. So it turned out the Shupe play for a card there was pretty important. The Shupe being pretty important, which is what you want with this deck, right? You want that to be a thing. But yeah. That'll be me done for today. I mean, this deck is pretty solid, I think. It's not necessarily the best, but it's up there in terms of Scoia'tael. One of the better Scoia'tael decks for sure, I think. And pretty different play with the Shupe, giving you lots of options, lots of different ways to play, and you still got the typical coin abuse, which you can use to your advantage. So, yeah, hope you enjoy the deck if you play it. Hope you enjoyed the video if you don't. and I will see you again next time.